It was a cold, dark night when the devil came for Jack. Stingy Jack was renowned for being a despicable, wicked man, so much so that word of his rotten schemes reached the devil himself. The ruler of hell came to Jack one night in a tavern and invited the blacksmith to share a drink. After several rounds, Jack claimed he didn't have any money, so asked if the devil could take the form of a coin to pay the tab. The devil obliged, but instead of paying, Stingy Jack shoved the coin in his pocket, which also had a silver crucifix inside. This prevented the devil from changing back into his own shape. Jack made a deal with the devil. In exchange for his release, the devil had to leave Jack alone for a decade. The devil begrudgingly agreed, and Jack let him go free. 10 years later, the devil returned for Stingy Jack, vowing revenge. However, this time, Jack convinced the devil to climb an apple tree to pick an apple so Jack would have something to eat on his journey to hell. The devil, having learned nothing from the last time, agreed. While he was in the tree, Jack carved a crucifix into the tree's trunk, which prevented the devil from climbing back down. He was forced to make another deal with Jack, this time that Jack would never go to hell. The devil, enraged that he was tricked again, had no choice but to accept the deal. Many years later, Stingy Jack's drinking habit finally caught up to him, and he died. Upon his death, his soul arrived at the gates of heaven. Because of his wicked ways, however, he was turned away and not granted permission to enter. Figuring there was only one other place to go, Jack made his way to the gates of hell instead. Here, too, he was turned away because of the deal he had made with the devil to never take his soul to hell. Jack asked for one last favor, that he have something to light his way if he was to be banished to wander the world alone in darkness. The devil granted this wish, giving Jack an ember from hell's fiery pit. Jack then carved himself a lantern from a hollowed-out turnip, carving a face into it for the ember's light to shine through. Ever since, on Halloween night, Irish locals may see a sad old man wandering the hillsides carrying his turnip lantern. Over time, this wandering spirit came to be called Jack of the Lantern. That's why today, when we carve out turnips or pumpkins to have spooky faces on Halloween night, we call them jack-o'-lanterns. But that's only where the story begins. Stingy Jack, not heaven nor hell would take him back. He wanders the night of endless black, so goes the tale of Stingy Jack. He tricked the devil, kept him bound, until he vowed to never come round. He left Jack's soul forever sound, even when his body was in the ground. When Jack went to the pearly gate, he found, alas, it was too late. There are no sinners in God's estate. Jack thought that hell would be his fate. The devil spurned him when he came, but gave Jack a coal of eternal flame. On this night we sing of his fame. Jack-o'-the-lantern is his name.
Must ye sing that blasted song?
A small huff came from within Jack's lantern. I like it, said a tiny voice. You should like it. I'd like to have a song about me that everyone sings. Jack curled his lip. He trudged sluggishly up the winding dirt path, leaning on his lantern pole that he used as a walking stick. Glancing sideways towards the distant hills, he thought he could hear the chanting coming from the town just beyond those hills, a few miles away.
Only silly children sing that song. I hate it, and I don't need you singing it.
The ember within the lantern flickered excitedly. But you know what that means, right? When the children start singing that song, it's that special day of the year. Jack glanced at his lantern, made from an irregularly large turnip the size of a human head, dangling from his pole.
Oh, yes, my bloody favorite.
It's All Hallows Eve. You used to look forward to it.
Only because I thought he'd show up. The one night of the year demons go rampant, and he never shows his face.
Not that it was a face Jack wanted to see, but it was the only way that Jack had a chance of undoing his terrible fate. The cheery voice withered into disappointment. "You've made me miss All Hallows Eve for the past 300 years. Can we please enjoy it this time instead of wandering the moors and trying to drown someone or lead them to a horrible end? Not that I mind that, but do all demons whine so much?" Jack shook his head irritably, but it had not dawned on him that 300 years had passed since his death. Granted, he had vaguely noticed that fashions changed, towns grew, battles were waged, and all manner of machinery improved, but none of it had any impact on the dead, unless one counted expanding graveyards. 300 years. That would make the present earthly time perhaps the late 19th century, which was a strange realization for Jack, but all he could do was shrug. Time was irrelevant to the deceased, and the days, weeks, and years blurred together in a constant now. Now was always wandering, always meaningless, always suffering. Nothing changed or mattered. His annoyance at that fact spurred Jack to shake the pole roughly, listening to the ember clunk around inside the hollow vegetable attached. He could see the ember's light through the eyes and mouth he had carved into the turnip, a garish face that he had hoped would keep him company over the centuries. He had come to regret company. The voice shrieked, "Stop that! You know I hate it when you shake me. Imagine living in a house and every so often some giant idiot shakes it around. I didn't ask to be stuck in this ember." "No, I'm sure you're just a sneaky punishment the devil damned me with when he handed ye over to me." Jack spotted a large rock on the side of the road, so he went over to it and sat down. He did not get tired. Souls don't get tired, at least not in the physical sense, but he needed to think of where he was going to go that evening. Perhaps some poor traveler would come down this road, someone he could use as bait. The ember piped up irritably. "I wish! Do you know what an honor it would be for a lesser demon to be given a mortal soul to torment for all eternity? My own tortured soul. It's what every demon wishes for, to be promoted to official soul tormentor." The little voice sighed. "But no, the master just didn't know I was in here. I must say it was rather gracious of him to give you a hell's coal in the first place. Never goes out, will always light your way. He must have really liked you, except for the whole you tricking him thing and all." Jack glanced up at the sky, the clouds pink against a purple sky fading to night. "I can assure ye, the devil don't like me. God don't like me. Nobody does." The voice paused, then replied, "Well, I like you." "Well, huzzah for me." Jack wrinkled his nose if he had smelled something foul. "If I just knew how to find that devil, I could make him relinquish his vow and take me back. Or if I could remember the way back to Eld's Gate. But it's been so long I can't remember." "Yeah, I know." Jack smirked. "Yeah, you heard me say that enough times. You're probably itching to get back there yourself, eh?" The voice murmured a thoughtful sound. I like this place. It has rain. I like rain. There's no rain in hell. Well, not water rain anyway, just brimstone hail." "You know, if you weren't in that lantern, rain would probably put you out, right? Then where would you be?" "I would be wet." The voice giggled. "How can you be so damned cheery being a demon?" "What? Do you think we're all mopey, dreary, no fun, all seriousness and business like death?" Jack flinched a little, more in surprise at the mention of the name than in fear. He tightened his knuckles around the lantern pole. "Why are you bringing up that gobshite? If that bone-headed bastard could have done his job right in the first place—" "Because he's standing right there." Jack was not sure how he had missed the humanoid abyss looming nearby. The figure, more shadow than opaque form, was constantly shifting, swirling like a mass of storm clouds or ink running down a drain. Looking into it created the same sensation as looking down a mile-high precipice. In the figure's presence, there was no wind, no birdsong, no chanting from over the hills. It was not that time had stopped, but being so close to death certainly made it feel that way. Jack-o'-lantern, Death whispered, its voice like wind hissing through cracks of a window frame.
Well, I haven't been called that in some time, Jack said, standing up. Seems you're the only one who remembers. Wondered when I'd be seeing your ass again. What do I owe the pleasure?
Somewhere within the rippling dark mass that should have been Death's head, there burned two greenish flames for eyes. I know your plans, Jack. Every year, when the veil is faintest between this world and the next, you lure mortal souls out to the moors to their deaths, all in the hope you shall lure the devil to you.
Jack scratched his chin. Well, I wouldn't say I lure them out there. More like some drunken bloke just happens to get lost on the way home from the tavern, and he so happens to see my lantern on the road, and he happens to wander after it until he stumbles straight into a lake. And I really can't help the man out of the water, what with me having no body. So is that really my fault? Or are the living just stupid?
Death stared silently at Jack, eye flames radiating ire. Jack's cheeky grin inverted into an annoyed frown.
I wouldn't think it would bother ye so much. I'm helping you doing your job and all.
Death rippled violently and made a sound like grease crackling in a pan. I don't need your help. You have upset my work by ending lives before their appropriated time. I've grown tired of your meddling in the affairs of men. Your evil deeds unbalance my perfect order.
With a flourish of Death's hand, or what passed for a hand as it was more like a tentacle of smoke, a scale carved from brown-red carnelian appeared in the air before him. On one side of the scale was an obsidian plate, and on the other a ruby one. The obsidian plate hung as low as it could go, while the ruby plate was as high as the scale allowed. Jack cocked his head at the scale. And just what is that?
The black plate represents all your sins. The red plate, all your good deeds. As you can see, you are perversely unbalanced. So much so, it is a detriment to the order I must maintain, to the very order of the universe.
Ah, fine. So I've done some less than admirable deeds, and if you think you're so high and mighty as to judge me for it, what are ye gonna do about it? You can't punish me any more than I'm already being punished.
Death evaporated the scale with a flick of its hand. I will be busy with all the souls traversing between this world and beyond tonight, so I'm going to put you away once and for all. Now.
The ember demon in the lantern flickered in panic, but Jack just laughed. Oh, ye think I want to be wandering out here, do ye? Maybe nobody told ye, but you can't put me anywhere. Heaven wouldn't take me in, and Hell's Gate is locked to me. I've got nowhere to go, friend. Now, if ye can find that old cloven-hoofed langer and make him...
I have thought good and long on this, Death thundered, and within his swirling darkness, bursts of lightning pulsed like veins in a human body. It is the shores of Styx for you.
Oh, no! The ember wailed. Please, Mr. Death, sir, not that! Jack looked at the lantern. Styx? Never heard of it. Oh, the river Styx leads to the underworld, Jack. But souls who have not earned the right to cross the river are stuck on its shores for all eternity. Never coming, never going. They're little more than statues, frozen in limbo. They can never get to a place where they can be granted a new life. Oh, it's horrible, Jack. At least here we can come and go where we please. I don't want to be frozen forever. The Ember Demon began to sob, which struck Jack as unusual. He had never heard his travel companion sound so distraught. No, that doesn't sound good, does it? Jack clicked his tongue at the back of his teeth and thought. He turned back to Death. Don't suppose you'd be up for a barter? After all, I could be out of your hair for good if maybe you put in a good word with either the man upstairs or the one downstairs. Then I could do something nice for you. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, eh? Death glared into Jack's soul impatiently. There is nothing you can offer me that I cannot have by my own doing. Your time is up, Jack. But it's All Hallows Eve, the Ember pleaded. The corner of Jack's lip curved upwards into a smirk as an idea lit up in his mind. Yes, that's right. The one night of the year all spirits can come and go as they wish. And the little guy's been looking so forward to it so much. You wouldn't deprive me and my friend of one last night of fun, would you? One last hurrah before an eternity of nothing. And I promise, no drownings, no messing with the living, just good, clean, All Hallows Eve mischief and the like. And then you can cart us off wherever you please. Deal? The fire in Death's eyes faded slightly, and his violent shifting calmed into a murmuring tremble. I know you'll be up to no good tonight, but I'll give you until 3 a.m. to complete any unfinished business. From within him, an image of a moon-faced clock swirled, showing the portended time. The moment the clock tolls the witching hour, you're mine. Then Death was gone in an instant. Jack chuckled half-heartedly. Well, that bought us some time, if not much. Though a bit strange, ain't it? I've been meddling in the affairs of men for hundreds of years. So why now is Death getting his trousers in a twist about sending me off? The Ember murmured, Maybe he's behind on his quota for the month. Jack shrugged. Who knows? Now, if only I knew how to get through Hell's Gate when the veil is thinnest. Then we can cheat Death and avoid this shores of Styx business. I know, sighed the Ember Demon. Yes, I know you know. You're the only one who... Jack paused, then squinted at the lantern. Wait. When you say you know, you mean... I know how to get through Hell's Gate, of course, the Ember replied nonchalantly. Jack stared dumbfoundedly at the lantern before shaking it madly. You know, I've been wandering this land for 300 years, and you know how to get through Hell's Gate. Why didn't you say anything? I've always told you I know every time you talk about it, but then you don't ask me how, the demon replied. And don't shake me because you weren't smart enough to ask. I thought when you said, I know, you meant you... Never mind. Jack huffed, but then smiled wide enough to crack his face open. But that's brilliant. So, where do we go and what do we do? It's been so long since I've been to Hell, I scarcely remember how to get back there. And I wager I'll have to do more than knock on the door when we get there. The demon cleared its throat, but was silent. Jack's face scrunched up in irritation. Well? Apologize. What? I want you to apologize for always shaking me and yelling at me. Then I'll tell you. Jack opened his mouth to let loose a string of uncivilized epithets on the demon, but he swallowed them back and sighed. Fine, I'm sorry. The demon scoffed. You don't mean it. Jack growled in exasperation. I am very sorry. I yell and curse and say mean things to you, and for shaking you when I get angry, and anything else I've done to make you upset. And when we get to hell, I'll testify you've been a terrifying demon who has tormented me unceasingly all these years and recommend you for promotion. Cross my heart, hope to... Well, I'm already dead, but I promise. Okay? The demon giggled, happy with that vow. Very good. The first thing you'll have to do is make a key. A key? What for? To unlock Hell's Gate, of course. Jack pinched his lips in thought. Shouldn't be hard. I was a blacksmith in life. I made all sorts of metal keys. Now, what kind of key unlocks the land of the dead? Wait, I know this one. Can I say it? The demon took a deep breath and then said triumphantly, a skeleton key! Right? That's the answer? It's not a riddle. I'm asking you. Oh, right. The demon hummed to itself for a few seconds. You'll need the right ingredients. 7 ingredients to be precise. And you're in luck. Any other day of the year, there'd be no way you could get any of those ingredients from the living world. But what you'll need will come over from the underworld tonight through the veil. The tricky part is, you'll have to get them from the 7 spirits that possess them. And they're not nice spirits. Not even bad spirits. They're the foulest of all the devil's realm. Jack grinned. So what you're saying is, tonight is going to be one hell of a ride.